साहब स्वागत है। नमस्कार।
नमस्कार। हरि ओम।
हरि ओम।
सभी को कृष्ण जन्माष्टमी शुभ वार के तो शुभकामनाएं। Still we are in the transcendental trance of Krishna Bhakti in the last 3-4 days. And in the previous episode, I remember, I have, as an introduction, I've touched about the definition of the bhakti, the devotion in an English sense, and different types and forms of bhakti, and the organization and the structure of these 20 shlokas and the verses of this particular chapter, 12th chapter, Bhakti Yoga, and some other small things I remember we discussed. But now coming to the first 5 verses of this beautiful chapter of Bhakti Yoga, before coming that to, as I normally do in the practical application aspect of it, for layman's terms, because some philosophy and concept and personal experiences and feelings and have been shared. So, with that, it is important because when 4 of us share 4 different perspectives, देखने वाले को थोड़ा कंफ्यूजन ज्यादा हो सकता है। भगवान जब खुद एक्सप्लेन कर रहे हैं तो फिर भी अर्जुन को आफ्टर 11 चैप्टर्स आल्सो ही स्टिल हैज डाउट्स, अर्जुन जैसा महान को। एंड इमेजिन द क्लेश तमा कितना होता है, क्लेश तरम अधिक क्लेश तमा बोलता हूं मैं। हाउ डिफिकल्ट, ग्रेटर डिफिकल्टी इट वुड बी फॉर द viewers of the Vartic TV and then the seeking the enlightenment. That's why I will make a little more effort today to explain the terms because it is already beautifully raised the doubt. ये सगुण की उपासना करें या निर्गुण की उपासना करें, अगर करें तो क्यों करें और कैसे करें। I think this is how we need to understand because of our education in different media and mostly in English. Because of that, a lot of contamination has happened in our thinking and in our minds. Though I myself am speaking in English, सुविधा के लिए, but our clarity of thought is always, because we always, it is said that और कौन सी भाषा में आप सपना देखते हैं, तो हर सपना मातृभाषा में देखा जाता है। you may be whatever scholar you may be in English or some other language. So similarly, we think, and the faster the processing, the better fluent you are in the learned language. In my case, I know 7-8 languages by virtue of moving around and then being okay. Coming to this, it is important and hence to understand different terminology. So first, in Sanskrit, let us understand, because very often we use synonymously. ये पर्यायवाचक इस्तेमाल करते हैं हम, श्रद्धा और भक्ति, these 2 words, bhakti shraddha, shraddha bhakti, these are the 2 words which we very often use as a पर्यायवाचक और synonymously. लेकिन ये श्रद्धा क्या है और भक्ति क्या है? And northern part of the India and eastern part of the India where the bhakti movement is a little more prominent, bhakti in northern India is more of a love, Radha Krishna Swarup. अगर राधा है कि नहीं है, is it a mythological character or a myth, let us not get into that. So but and some people say that Radha is the romantic or the love part of the Krishna himself, so that's what also is there. It is nothing but the Krishna consciousness, Radha. So there is no, it's a nirguna actually. Radha is a concept of a nirguna. So there is no existence. Some people say that without getting into those details. But why am I saying this is to understand Shraddha and then Bhakti. So what is so in some part of the world it is Bhakti is love. In some other part it is dedication. Some other part it is devotion. In some other part it is service and loyalty and things like that. Similarly, in English also we have faith, belief, trust. Faith, belief, and then trust. These are the things which very often we synonymously use. The faith क्या होता है? And then in Hindi, now coming to There is something called astha, and there is some other word called vishwas. तो जब विश्वास बोलते हैं, एंड देयर आर टू वेरिएशन, एक तो होता है अंधविश्वास एंड दूसरा होता है विश्वास, ये जो मनुष्य के ऊपर करने वाला विश्वास और भगवान के प्रति रखने वाला विश्वास। तो किसको श्रद्धा बोलते हैं, किसको भक्ति बोलते हैं, ये समझना बहुत जरूरी है इन इंग्लिश। So first, and hence we need to focus on that. So let us say, in my understanding and for the easy understanding of the people, the way I would like to interpret here, for a better understanding of the bhakti and then the bhakti yoga, is that, without getting confused, is that Shraddha is the concentration focus. So when will you be able to focus? Things which are, because even while sitting there, or let us say they call it bullseye, when you are aiming, when an archer is aiming at a particular target, there is a bullseye and there is a dot. Unless the dot and then that bullseye is there, he will not be able to. Similarly, when Drona asks Arjuna, oh, eye dikh raha hai kya, that bird's eye, whether it is, and then we know that story. So that precision and that focus, how important is it? That creates that comes out of the Shraddha, that is the concentration and then the focus. And hence Shraddha is the first step of the bhakti. Concentration coupled with love. When do we call love? When a selfless trust, the imposition or the reposing at a selfless trust in somebody. If it is a human, we may call it love. If it is the Lord or the God, we may call it bhakti or the devotion. And that which is pratyaksha bhakti, and then there is a paroksha bhakti. And even pratyaksha bhakti on human beings and then paroksha bhakti on human beings. Similarly, pratyaksha bhakti on God, the concept of the God, and paroksha bhakti. And most of it is paroksha. That is why the Shruti also says paroksha priya vaivahi devaha. Because प्रत्यक्ष तो किसी को हुआ नहीं है, प्रकट हुए नहीं है, जो भी बोलते हैं लोग, मैंने भगवान को देखा है, मैंने समाधि में जाता हूँ और वहाँ ये सब देखता हूँ, yeah, I don't know how, once you get into the samadhi, there is something called amanaska sthiti. So people are these days talking about mindfulness. These are all the terminology which is coming back from West to us in packages. Similarly, they talk about have a passion, to achieve something. But whereas our Sanatan Dharma talks about dispassion, the pursuit should be, of a dispassion. So we need to understand, that is why it is important to Sahi Samyak Jnana and Sahi text and original text पढ़ने की आवश्यकता बहुत जरूरी है. So that is important to understand each of these terms. So and then if I have to propose, a stepwise, I think it looks like these are given as a stepwise, that's what Bhagavan seems to be explaining in the 3, 4 and then the 5 shlokas and thereafter. The 1 to 5 are about the dilemma. So if you look at it, first prerequisite is Shraddha. Shraddha से भक्ति हो जाता है, भक्ति से ज्ञान प्राप्ति हो जाती है, and ज्ञान प्राप्ति से मोक्ष प्राप्ति, because ज्ञानादेव तो कैवल्यम. So how do we understand this in English? First is known, to focus on the known, because Bhattacharya was also telling, but there may be 1 in 1,000 or million, like the claim of Bhattacharya, but there may not be, for all people it may not be possible, and it is his own experience. It can, however, maybe every episode he may tell, or even for 1 more year he may tell, we will not be able to understand or share the same experience for those people who actually experience. That is a swa anubhava. That is why Adi Shankaracharya defined bhakti as swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktiriti abhidhiyate. So to realize our own self by self is bhakti, actually, and that self is nothing but the same part of the supreme consciousness, and hence we place it in some other entity. But the first step is the Shraddha, second step is the bhakti, that is from known to unknown. Imagine the plight, the klesha, the pain or the difficulty of focusing, even when एक मंत्र लेके, एक माला लेके बैठ के, एक मूर्ति सामने रख के 10 मिनट हम लोग फोकस नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. जो किसी ने कॉलिंग बेल दबाया, किसी ने झगड़ा कर रहा है, बीवी चिल्ला रही है किचन से, और कोई फोन कॉल आया और टीवी में प्रोग्राम चल रहा है, एंड वी आर डूइंग सम अवधान, वी आर लुकिंग एट मल्टीटास्किंग इन दैट 10 minutes ऑफ पूजा पाठ ऑल्सो, एंड हाउ डिफिकल्ट इट शुड बी फॉर ए निर्गुण काइंड ऑफ उपासना करने वालों का अभी बाधा बोलो क्लेश क्या होता है। इसीलिए क्लेश अधिकतर एंड देन अधिकतम का यह शब्द इस्तेमाल किया गया है। सो द फर्स्ट स्टेप इज फर्स्ट फ्रॉम नोन टू अननोन फेमिलियर, एंड देन यू रियलाइज थ्रू द सम्यक नॉलेज, and then you will get into the liberation. That is how the process of Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana and Mukti. And Bhakti से क्या होता है, at least even if you may not get into some kind of a amanaska sthiti, the mindlessness state of samadhi and then the realization, even by having just Bhakti, you will get Shakti. And जो काम करने का युक्ति भी मिल जाता है। सो भक्ति से शक्ति एंड युक्ति मिल जाता है। जब शक्ति एंड युक्ति मिले और भक्ति से जुड़े तब मुक्ति मिल सकता है। तो फिर तो सो फ्रॉम भक्ति टू शक्ति टू युक्ति टू मुक्ति, तो दैट इज व्हाई इट इज ये आलंबन भक्ति बहुत काम आता है। एंड एंड मेनी इन द हिस्ट्री, इन द वांग्मय में देखेंगे तो पुराण में हम लोग देखें तो इवन दी प्राण प्रतिष्ठापन जो बोल रहे हैं, फिर भी इट इज स्टिल इट इज सगुण उपासना। एंड पीपल से निर्गुण का मतलब नॉट फॉर्मलेसनेस और नथिंगनेस। very often people may misunderstand because of the lack of the proper knowledge of Sanskrit, and then because then the dhatu and then vyutpatti. तो निर्गुण का मतलब ये नहीं है कि the formless, it is गुण बोले तो there are 3 गुणास, सत्व रजस तम गुणास, and निर्गुण का मतलब is गुणातीत, that the one who is beyond this is not bound by these 3 gunas. So that is actually the correct interpretation as I view it, as I have read and studied, which I wanted to share, rather than ये हवा में बैठ के कुछ भक्ति और ध्यान करना कितना मुश्किल होता है। इसीलिए it is important to start your process from the known and then the familiar with a सगुण रूप। इवन प्राण प्रतिष्ठापना करेंगे तो भी जो मिट्टी का पुतले का बात कर रहे हैं ना, उसी में हमारा हम आह्वान कर रहे हैं प्रतिष्ठापन करके, फिर भी इट इज ए सगुण रूप, दो इट इज निर्गुण। सो फ्रॉम सगुण से निर्गुण जाने का रास्ता दिखा रहे हैं ये 5 श्लोकों में और आने वाले। एंड देन द अदर पार्ट ही इज टॉकिंग अबाउट इज a very loaded word called kuta, the anvil that Swamini ji talked about, which doesn't move or change. Another interpretation Adi Shankaracharya gave is it is a samuha. कूट का मतलब कूटमी बोलते हैं, जो भी ग्रुप है, पार्टी है और एसोसिएशन है, उसको कूटमी या कूट बोलते हैं। एंड थर्ड इंटरप्रिटेशन इज द कूट कुटुंबी। ओके, कुटुंबा इज ऑल्सो कम फ्रॉम द a little more विस्तार रूप से, और ज्यादा बोलते हमारे लैंग्वेज में कूटमी या इट इज कम फ्रॉम संस्कृत ओनली। एक्चुअली कूट is also a team or a group, that is also there. And third interpretation is Shankaracharya is Maya, because that is the adhara, that is the foundation, that is why it has to be firm, achalam, and then dhruvam it has to be. That's what that is the basis and आधार। इसके ऊपर जो भी नाटक हो रहा है वो सब सब बहुत सारे चीज वहां पे वहीं पे बन रहे हैं और उसमें दबाया जा रहा है और पीटा जा रहा है, and they are taking different shapes, but that doesn't change. That is why it is a kutastham. And then so, and of course the highest form, if some of you as a Devi Upasaka, there is something called Panchadashi, Shatkuta, and then like Mahamantras are also there, like Shorasakshari, Shatkuta Mahamantra, Panchadashi Mahamantra, and Trikuta Kamakotika. That's what it is said about Lalitambika. So this is there are 3 kutas, there are Shakti Kuta, Kamaraj Kuta, and all like that. There are bijakshas associated with it. So there is a deeper meaning about kuta also, but for our understanding, it is the basic foundation. Once the foundation is firm, then जितने भी माला है उसके ऊपर बनाओ और सोपान में परम पद तक आप जा सकते हैं, but the foundation has to be very firm. That is why we can understand that the saguna upasana जो होता है, it is a foundation basic core. Based on that, once you reach that stage in the process of enlightenment, from Shraddha to Bhakti to Jnana to मोक्षा एंड देन मुक्ति पाने का एक अवसर मिल जाता है, एंड एन अपॉर्चुनिटी and a possibility is available. That's what Bhagavan seems to be suggesting, with the equal importance to both the approaches. And if there is time, we can take it up when the specific points raised, and then a little more relevant interpretation.
जी, तो सेकंड